Welcome back to another Legacy League video with Rainbow Depths versus Yorion, Death and Taxes. John on Rainbow Depths kept 7, Cam on Death and Taxes kept 6, and Cameron's on the play. He's going to play a Plains and pass over to John. John will follow up with an Herborg and pass back. Cam plays a second Plains with a Spirit of the Labyrinth, passing back to John. See if John has a Thespian stage into a Vampire Hex Mage. So very close to making, well, not quite, with the Skyclave Apparition coming out of Cam. He'll exile the Vampire Hexmage, and it'll have 2 counters on it. If it were to die, then John would receive a 2/2 illusion token. John is going to Sylvan Scrying using an Elvish Spirit Guide to exile for green mana, and then we'll see what John plays here. John may have been a little too quick to play the Vampire Hexmage, especially going for the Dark Depths here. He could have played the Vampire Hexmage now, which would have forced him to tap out to handle the Vampire Hexmage this turn. But because he didn't, it's going to go over to a Stoneforge for Cam. Tap 2 mana. Looks like he already has the Cauldron Complete in his hand. I don't know what else he has. Maybe a Caracas. If he does, then that would be very difficult for John to work through as well, because the Caracas will bounce the Merit Lage token to his hand, which will then make it basically dissolve. Cam fetches out a Lion Sash with the Stoneforge Mystic, and that will allow him to basically have a Scavenging Ooze. And also an equipment to John. John's going to take 5 damage here. Go to 15, unless he took 3 damage the turn before, and then he would be at 12. John's making the 20/20 during his main phase. The bold move Cotton. We'll see how it plays out. Cam just pulled a Solitude off the top, has a Batterskull in hand, as well as a Skyclave Apparition. So he's going to Solitude the Merit Lage and make John gain 20 life. I'm not quite sure what John's life is now because it's off screen, but I'd imagine it's probably 33. We're going to see an activation of the Cauldron. Thank God Cam didn't use any tokens, like the germ tokens that are to his left, but that is what it is. John will go back on the draw, and now he's in a pretty defensive place here because he doesn't have, well, looks like he's going to try and make another 20/20. So John will go get another Dark Depths, and we'll see how this plays. He was tapped out the turn before, which is kind of tough to make that 20/20. Otherwise, he probably could use that crop rotation to go get Satori Step. John will Thought Seize, taking 2 damage. Batterskull and the Lion Sash. John will choose to get rid of the Batterskull. Still pretty big turn here for Cam. While John's up in life, he did take 10 damage last turn. So John's probably at 23 at this point. Alright, so that's a Cauldron with the Lion Sash on it. Not quite sure why Cam didn't just swing with everything. John will draw. Not quite sure why John also didn't make the 20/20 on his end step. He definitely could have made a 20/20 with Cam being tapped out and also Hellbent. So it looks like he may have missed lethal there. Cam's going to come back across. John will make the 20/20. And then Cam has a Swords that he pulled off the top. John will gain another 20 life, but he'll also take another 10 damage. Now we're in the tank here, trying to figure out how can John get through it. He's made 2 20/20s in a row and gained 40 life. Let's see. I'm not quite sure what he's got left to go with here. Pithing Needle, a little late for that. I wonder what he names. Probably Wasteland. No, he's going to pull it back. Alright, let's see what he does here. This is a Ghost Quarter. Okay. John plays a Ghost Quarter. If Cam had a Caracas, that makes sense here. I guess he's just trying to get some sort of lands out. Cam's getting ready to take a look at John's graveyard. Start removing some permanents to pump up that Lion Sash to make that Cauldron even bigger. So it looks like he's got 2 there. And a 3rd. Alright. So exiles Dark Depths and a Thespian, 2 Dark Depths and a Thespian Stage. He's got an 8/8 Cauldron now. Taking a peek again to see what permanents he has. He's going to move 2 more. Make that a 10/10. And so he's going to swing for 16. John's got to be getting close up. That's going to be the game there. Going into game 2, both players have kept 7. John's going to be on the play here. We'll see how he leads off on this first turn with a Lotus Petal and a Thespian Stage. It's not a bad start. It does look like he has a Not of This World in his hand, which is really strong. Looks like he may have just drawn a Dark Depths, which is phenomenal considering he has enough mana to make the 20/20 next turn and also protect it. That's really big. Cam wasting no time, attacking with the Mother Runes. John going down to 19. Let's see, we're going to have John probably play the Dark Depths, and he's going to play a Vampire Hexmage, which is very smart, because he can hold that up till end of turn, and so Cam is kind of forced to play through it. He does have a Caracas in his hand, which is really good. John it wouldn't be a great idea to block just because he can make it a pro black and kill. Alright, that's what he's going to do. He will block. First strike damage doesn't happen. Alright, John's going to sack it and go ahead and make the 20/20. Cam does throw the Caracas out. John has a Not of This World. Getting a good kick out of that because it can't be targeted. I don't know if Cam has a Solitude in his hand. John draws and swings for 20, and that will be game number 2. Going into game 3, John is on 7, Cam is on 6. Cam will be on the play. Just looking to put 1 back. We'll see this get started off with a Wasteland into a Vial. A pretty traditional start for Death and Taxes. John's going to lead off on double Petal with an Urborg. Petal Urborg plays the Vampire Hexmage. I think he could have waited a little bit longer just in case he does have a Plains and a Swords for that. But looks like he's going to follow up with a Thalia. John will go ahead and make the next land drop, which is a Thespian Stage. Still making it in his main phase turn instead of, well, it makes sense. He has a Wasteland over there, so that makes it very difficult for him to make the 20/20 through that. A second Vampire Hexmage will be required to handle something like that. Caracas, John's going to sack the Petal, and Thalia Tax will make him have to pay 2 for that. Follows up with the Swords of Plowshare. John's going to exile 1 Elvish Spirit Guide and go get a Sajiri Step. Clearly played through the Thalia Tax, but we paid for it 1 time, but didn't pay for it the second time. So John have a 20/20 out with Pro White because the second Thalia Tax wasn't paid. But we'll see how that goes. Cam's going to pass the turn back, and John swings for 20. Cam doesn't have a flyer, he only has the Spirit Labyrinth, and that's game number 3. Thanks for watching.